May I remind you that trading is risky and not suitable for everyone. Your past performance, good or bad, is not necessarily indicative of future results. Please stay small, stay humble, focus on the long term, and never risk money you cannot afford to lose. Welcome to Quant-in-a-Box Daily. Today is Thursday, December 29th. We're etching ever so closer towards the end of the year. Every day we get together, we look at global macroeconomic trends, match those with technical trends, and see if we can get an edge in the market. How do we do this? Well, with this beautiful tool called Quant-in-a-Box. What is Quant-in-a-Box? It's your global macroeconomic quant in a box, a beautiful tool that gives you access to all the fundamental data you need to formulate a bias. Well, actually, it's even easier than that. It actually gives you a bias, which you can then match up with technicals in the market and then continue to trade successfully. It's a beautiful tool, a great thing to have in your toolbox, and a weekly trial is just $7.90. Give it a bash. I know for a fact that I'm never going to trade without it again. So here we are. What we're going to do today is look at the market heat map and identify if these opportunities that have presented themselves over Asia can be continued during London, or if they've given us a chance to do a counter trade. What do I mean by that? Take a look at your top three: Kiwi Swissy, the UK 100, Pound Aussie, Kiwi CAD. So our Kiwi's right up here. Our Kiwi Yen, if we just take a look down here, from the losses, our yen is very strong right now. You can see all our indices currently in the bottom five. Okay, our yen, dollar yen, Swiss yen, we got CAD yen. So our yen is currently showing strength. So the big question is, could we continue a buy with a Kiwi Swissy or a Kiwi CAD, or could we continue a sell on these yen pairs? Now, what we can do is, instead of just looking at the market heat map by itself, we could match this up with fundamental bias on our overall bias for a specific pair. So taking a look at Kiwi Swissy, if we look down here on our cross currencies, we can see the Kiwi Swissy currently neutral on our overall bias, but quite a large mover. So we could then jump into Kiwi Swissy and see if we have any opportunity to take a trade on this. Now, of course, because of the fact that it is currently neutral fundamentally, we would look at this and say, do we have any opportunities to trade this technically? Now, right now we can see currently neutral fundamentally, currently neutral technically. So we'd leave that one alone and move on to the next. We do the same thing for the Kiwi CAD. Taking a look at Kiwi CAD on our overall bias. Over here, we can see the Kiwi CAD coming through with a strong buy, also the biggest mover, one of the biggest movers for the session. So in that situation there, we could look at Kiwi CAD and say, do we have an opportunity to continue this buy? Now you can see here, price currently moving down. Okay. And if you're going to continue this buy, you'd like to see price closing at support. Of course, this 4-hour candle currently closing at resistance, not indicating a close at support, although fundamentally bullish. So right now, it's skip that and say, I don't have an opportunity to exercise my fundamental bias in the market because price is not currently at support, and I'd move on. Now, you could do this for all of the pairs in your top movers, but what I want to look at rather is our yen pairs. With all of our indices currently moving down, showing risk off for the Asian session, yen's where you'd like to go. However, but besides the point that yen coming through is neutral on Quant-in-a-Box, you can see Aussie yen coming through neutral, CAD yen coming through neutral, Euro yen coming through neutral, same with Pound yen and Kiwi yen as well. So right now on your yen pairs, what you've got is you've got an indication of the fact you've had strong yen over the Asia session, your indices are currently down. Can you continue yen strength? Let's take a look. Aussie yen, currently, we can see from a daily perspective, price closing over here. Not any specific type of resistance. We were looking for price to come up a bit higher. However, we didn't really make that resistance. And of course, this over here is just a fib. Okay, that's why price is coming down from there. So taking a look at the 4-hour time frame, do we have price currently at resistance? You can see here, price currently closing, this 4-hour candle closing at support. So I want to see if there's a better yen pair I can get an opportunity off of besides Aussie yen. Let's take a look at the next yen pair. CAD yen. Okay, CAD yen also coming up. But the problem with CAD yen is it's not really at support or resistance. This 21.55 being flat, I'm not using that as support or resistance. If price was currently up here at resistance, that'd be great. Or if price was consolidating over here and I could see a lower low, lower high, that'd be fantastic as well. I'll leave CAD yen alone as well. Moving on to our euro yen, you see the daily closing. There's some resistance over here, okay? But the problem with the 4-hour is you can see price currently at support. Now, if you want to exercise yen weakness and you want to buy euro yen, all you're looking for over here is a higher high, higher low on the M15 time frame. However, we're looking to see if we can continue yen strength into the London session. So euro yen is not going to do it for us. Let's take a look at pound yen. Okay, so pound yen, we can see there is some resistance left-hand side, rather close to the profit-taking zone though. And from an H4 perspective, you can see all the support left-hand side. Not looking for a sell on the pound yen. Okay, let's see if there's another pair that could give us the opportunity. Kiwi yen. So Kiwi yen coming up, you can see resistance left-hand side where the closes from yesterday. In terms of the H4 candles, right now, your H4 candle over here closed at resistance. You can see there, you got this range forming, and you can see price currently closing at the top of that range. Price is currently moving down out of that range. So do you have an opportunity to trap price? Well, price coming down, making that lower low. Can you sell a pullback at the bottom of this range? And therefore continue the yen strength that's been taking place in the session so far. So what you're looking for right now on the M15 time frame is a pullback to resistance. Now you'd mark off what you would wait for first is wait for your H1 candle to close, which would be closing at the top of the hour. And then you're simply going to wait for price to pull back to resistance, either on an H1 time frame, so price to close at resistance H1, or alternatively, price to close at resistance M15. Make sure you mark off the lower low though. So you want to see a lower low. You can see here on the M15 time frame, your bottom of your range is a bit wider than what's predicted, what's shown on the H1 time frame. Make sure you got that lower low. And once you got that lower low, look for that lower high. Out of all the yen pairs, Kiwi yen presenting the best opportunity for that sell. Recognize that as price goes down, you want to pay attention to pullbacks. So make sure when you sell this, if it's sellable, that you certainly are selling at resistance. Okay. That's how I would exercise the move on Kiwi yen. And all I'm really doing here is I'm simply looking at my market heat map and looking at trades and saying, have any of these come down to levels where I could potentially buy, i.e., if I've got fundamental bullishness on a currency pair, but I've seen bearishness in the market, does that mean that prices come down to support so I can buy it? Or if I see bearishness fundamentally, has price come up to resistance so I can sell it? Okay. Another example would be pound Aussie. Taking a look at pound Aussie over here. So pound Aussie, from an overall fundamental bias perspective, is neutral. So you then look at technicals and say, well, can I trade pound Aussie? So jumping into pound Aussie over here, looking at your daily, you can see price has come down. Can you continue the sell? Now, of course, here you've got a 4-hour 21. You've got price coming up to that 4-hour 21. So when price gets to that 4-hour 21, could you exercise a sell? And again, I know that price has gone up during the Asia session, but what you're looking at is you're saying, can I continue the buy on pound Aussie? Well, I don't see price currently closing at support. Or has price come up so that you can sell it? Now, if you were bearish on pound Aussie fundamentally, what a beautiful setup. But because you're neutral, you'd have to use technicals, right? And because of the fact that our indices are all down for the session of Asia, my question is, can I continue yen strength? And so Kiwi yen would be the trade I'd be paying attention to the most. Of course, if the yen is going to be weak, your counter trade for that would then be on your euro yen, where you're looking at price at support, and you're simply saying, do I get a higher high, higher low? Now, remember, the yens are neutral, so you are able to do that. And either way, if you get weak Japanese yen, you can exercise it on euro yen. If you get strong Japanese yen, you can exercise it on Kiwi yen. So either way, you're sort of covered. But make sure that you confirm everything on the M15 time frame. So if you're buying euro yen, make sure you're buying a higher high, higher low. If you're selling Kiwi yen, make sure you are trading a lower low, lower high. Okay. and you've got to wait for this H1 candle to close. And so that's how you can use Quant-in-a-Box, matching the heat map with the overall fundamental bias, marrying that with technicals, and seeing if there's an opportunity to take a trade in the market today. In terms of everything else we're looking at, we continue to wait for setups on the dollar pairs towards the end of the year. Nothing is moving at the moment on those pairs, so we'll leave those alone for now and see if this opportunity here gives us a trading opportunity to make some pips. Now, remember, in terms of profit taking, be aware of where you are positionally and pay very careful attention to change of trend on the M15. So if you're selling Kiwi yen because you get an indication of bearishness, as price gets down to lower levels, pay very careful attention to any bullishness, because you're going to sell this until such time as price becomes bullish. Same with the euro yen. If you're buying euro yen because the yen weakens, then you're looking to continue buying this, or at least stay in the buy until price becomes bearish. Okay, so what you can do is open up a watch list. On your watch list, you can just basically close anything you've got on there. I'm going to add euro yen on this chart over here, and I'm going to add Kiwi yen. Just quickly find it over here, and then let's close that. Let's close that. Let's close that, and let's close that. Let's just sort that out. So euro yen, Kiwi yen, Kiwi yen. I'll have an H4 time frame here, an H1 or M15 time frame here. Change my template. Okay, and ultimately looking for that M15 time frame over here on Kiwi yen, staying with the H4, and then my M15's here already. Okay, so now what I've basically got is I've got a plan right now that says if I get yen weakness, well, I've got euro yen at support. And again, remember, your yen pairs are neutral. That's why we're doing it this way. I've got euro yen at support. So do I get an opportunity to buy? If there's yen strength, I've got Kiwi yen currently breaking out of a range. Is there an opportunity to sell? So one or the other. And of course, if none of those give anything and there's no opportunity on either, well, that's fine. What I can then do is go to New York and do the exact same thing with my market heat map, confirming fundamental bias over here, and then marrying that with technicals over here. Stay patient, stay disciplined, stay liquid. Have a good day.